Why do some people turn one tiny thought into a storm? Why does a short message, a small silence, turn into hours of mental replay? Most people think overthinking is worrying too much, but psychology says something deeper.
Overthinkers aren't weak. They aren't dramatic. They aren't doing too much. They're carrying a mind that refuses to ignore meaning. Let's go inside that mind. 1. Their brain can't accept simple explanations. While the average person sees things as they are,
Overthinkers see things as they could be, as they might mean, as they might become. Their mind works like a detective, analyzing tone, replaying details, scanning for hidden signals, predicting outcomes. This isn't curiosity.
It's survival, shaped by moments where missing small details once hurt them. Their mind runs nonstop what-if loops. What if they're upset? What if I messed up? What if things go wrong later? They're not trying to think too much. Their brain is constantly scanning for danger, rejection, or emotional shifts. While others sleep peacefully, their mind works overtime.
3. Their silence isn't calm, it's chaos. When they go quiet, their mind gets louder. They replay conversations, analyze expressions, and examine every angle.
outside, calm. Inside, a storm of fears, hopes, and possibilities. 4. They feel more intensely than others. Overthinking doesn't come from thinking too much. It comes from feeling too much. A tiny tone change feels like a threat. An unread message feels like distance. A short reply feels like disappointment. They don't invent meaning, they sense it. 5. Their mind was trained by the past. Overthinking grows from past hurt,
Unstable relationships, sudden disappointment, emotional unpredictability, growing up needing to stay alert. It isn't a habit. It's a defense system, a silent shield built through years of emotional survival.
If Section 1 explained how the overthinking mind works, Section 2 explains what it feels like to live inside it. Because overthinking isn't just mental activity, it's an emotional ecosystem. Let's enter it.
1. Overthinkers feel responsible for things that aren't their fault. If something goes wrong, they assume they caused it. If someone gets quiet, they assume they did something wrong.
If the energy shifts even slightly, their mind jumps to, did I mess up? Did I say something weird? Is everything okay? They carry emotional responsibility like a full backpack, heavy, quiet, and invisible to everyone else.
Was that sarcasm? Did they sound annoyed? Should I have said something else? This constant replay has nothing to do with obsession. It's the brain trying to protect them from making the same mistake again. The mind isn't just remembering, it's preparing. 3. They attach meaning to tiny emotional signals.
One unread message feels like distance. One slow reply feels like disappointment. One dry message feels like anger. One changed tone feels like something is wrong. But here's the truth. Overthinkers don't exaggerate. They amplify. They see emotional details others overlook. They're not crazy. They're sensitive. They're perceptive. They're emotionally tuned in. And sensitivity is not a flaw. It's data. 4. They're always one step ahead emotionally, and it exhausts them. Overthinkers predict reactions before they happen. They anticipate disappointment before it's spoken. They sense tension before it rises.
They prepare for worst-case scenarios before anyone else even notices a problem. This creates emotional exhaustion because their brain is always on plan A, backup plan, plan for the backup plan.
And a backup plan for when the first backup plan fails. It's not fear, it's forecasting. 5. They overthink because they care. Deeply, intensely, genuinely. Here's the part most people never understand. Overthinking isn't caused by doubt, it's caused by investment. They care about relationships. They care about outcomes. They care about how people feel. They care about making the right choice. If they didn't care, they wouldn't think so much. Overthinking isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of how much they're trying to get things right.
Here's where things get dark and real. Most people think overthinking is just worrying too much or caring too much. But psychology shows us something far more serious. Overthinking quietly becomes the enemy living inside your own mind. And the dangerous part?
You don't notice it happening until it has already shaped your decisions, your confidence, your relationships, and even your identity. Let's break down the hidden psychological traps overthinkers fall into, the ones that silently control their life without them realizing.
What if something goes wrong? These thoughts become so vivid and intense that the brain reacts as if the danger is real. Overthinkers don't fear reality. They fear the versions of reality their mind creates. And those fears shape their behavior more than the truth ever does. 2. They replay conversations like an endless movie. While most people forget a conversation within minutes, overthinkers replay every detail. Tone, pauses, facial expressions, every sentence they said, every sentence they could have said. This replaying feels like analysis.
But in psychology, it's actually mental punishment, a loop that drains energy and confidence. They don't revisit conversations to understand them, they revisit them to blame themselves. 3. They delay decisions until life decides for them. Overthinkers want to make the perfect choice, but perfection kills action. So instead of choosing, they wait,
Postpone, overanalyze, ask for more signs, keep researching, keep thinking, keep doubting. And eventually, the opportunity disappears. Not because they were incapable, but because they took so long trying to be right that they never made a move.
In psychology, this is called decision fatigue, and it makes smart people lose simple battles. 4. They assume the worst before anything even happens. This is an emotional survival response. Overthinkers prepare for the worst because they believe if I expect the worst, I won't get hurt. But this belief has a hidden cost.
They destroy their own peace before life even has a chance to challenge them. Instead of protection, it becomes self-sabotage disguised as caution. 5. They overvalue small mistakes. A normal person makes a mistake and moves on.
An overthinker makes a mistake and turns it into a personal failure. They don't think, I messed up. They think, I am the mess. This identity shift is what makes overthinking so damaging, because it convinces someone to judge themselves more harshly than anyone else ever could.
6. They carry emotional battles alone. Overthinkers rarely express what's bothering them, not because they don't want to, but because they fear being misunderstood, being judged, being seen as dramatic, burdening someone.
Saying it the wrong way, making things worse. So instead, they keep everything inside. But internal battles always take a toll, and silence slowly becomes emotional exhaustion. Section 3 Summary. Overthinking isn't harmless.
It's not a cute personality trait. It's a psychological cycle that stops progress, kills confidence, amplifies fears, distorts reality, damages relationships, and makes life feel heavier than it really is. Not because overthinkers are weak,
But because their mind is too active, too emotional, too observant for its own peace. And in the next section, we dig into how overthinkers can break these hidden patterns and finally take back control of their mind.
Here's the truth most people never see. Overthinkers don't lose peace because life is difficult. They lose peace because their mind refuses to rest, even when life is finally quiet. Their brain turns simple moments into signals, small pauses into possibilities, and silence into stories. And this is where their emotional energy slowly drains. They treat every emotion like a puzzle to solve. Most people feel something and move on. But overthinkers feel something and immediately search for meaning. Why am I feeling this? What caused it? Does this mean something is wrong? They analyze emotions instead of experiencing them, turning feelings into homework their mind never stops doing. They also overinterpret silence. What others see as nothing, they see as danger, rejection, disappointment, distance. Silence gives their mind too much room to create stories, and those stories often hurt more than reality. And their past, it follows them. Overthinkers replay old conversations, old mistakes, old moments, not because they can't let go, but because their brain is trying to protect them from future pain.
It's survival disguised as memory. Small problems hit them harder too. A short message, a weird tone, a changed plan. To others, it's nothing. To an overthinker, it's a signal, a shift, something that needs to be understood. This hyper-awareness makes them emotionally intelligent and emotionally exhausted.
But here's where everything changes. There comes a moment, quiet, sudden, powerful, when an overthinker realizes, my thoughts are not facts. A thought is just a thought. A fear is not a prophecy. A feeling is not the truth. This realization rewires the entire emotional system. When they learn to slow the mind, even for 5 seconds, they interrupt the whole overthinking loop. That pause tells the brain, we are safe. And safety is the antidote to chaos.
Then comes emotional mastery, choosing responses instead of reacting, letting go of what they can't control, stopping the habit of reading minds, redirecting mental energy toward goals, clarity, and peace. And slowly, the overthinker transforms.
Their sensitivity becomes intuition. Their awareness becomes intelligence. Their caution becomes wisdom. Their silence becomes strength. Because the people who once felt too much become the people who understand more than anyone else. Final question for comments. When your mind gets loud, do you feel like it's protecting you or controlling you?